reasons. One, yeah, the volume was too low on the video. It was too hard to hear. We fixed that issue. And two, I was covering Elleon the whole video. Why do I want to do that? Who's trying to cover up that beautiful man? Screw that. It's also his video. Why am I covering his face? But yeah, let's go into reacting to his video now. He has a video that just came out. It's called "What's Wrong with the Macro in the Pro Level and the Casual Level of Smite." We're going to look at his video, hear his opinions. Yeah.
The problem in macro in Smite right now is
actual fight
that if we look at the mini map here, right, is that at 25 minutes, because everyone is level 20 and that's the way spawn.
1 second before we go forward. I know it's 17 minutes. What he's talking about is at 25 minutes. We'll get to that point in a second. I also want to put out this is a problem with the macro in Smite, not the problem. The problem that he's probably going to go into is a reaction or a result of all the other problems in the macro play. I just want to put that out there. Just put that out there.
On timers are scaling. You will lose the game, regardless of winning for 25 minutes. So you can win 25 minutes of Smite, but if you get wiped / lose, lose 3 or 4 3 people at fire, you will lose the game.
He's right.
So there's 2 arguments to this. There's 2 arguments. One side is, well, that's a comeback mechanic. Yes, I agree. There should be a comeback mechanic, and I agree that this is the comeback mechanic. But my problem, and a lot of other people's problem, is that you're winning the game. It's not just a comeback mechanic. It's a complete 180 win.
So I completely agree with Elleon in this situation. Right now, you could be winning the entire game. You can play the entire game perfectly. You could be absolutely dominating the enemy players in every way, shape, or form. And then make a single mistake at 25 minutes, and somebody else can make a single mistake at 25 minutes, and the entire game is done off of one mistake. And part of that problem is because of a few reasons. One, we've power crept the items so much that we have enough protections, enough HP, enough damage, enough regen to be able to just literally run down all the towers, the Phoenix and the Titan in the span of one death timer. It's a little ridiculous. If you look at previous seasons ago, like 5 or 4, or maybe even 6, maybe even I don't know about 6. I kind of forget about that. You would learn that we didn't have the damage to just take out a tower that easily without like minions. If you look back at the old SPL games, you'll see what I mean. Our items have just power crept to the point where we can just shrug stuff off. It's kind of weird. And then the other problem on this is that we're getting the gold and XP so fast that by 25 minutes, we have the items to do that, as opposed to if we slow down the items just a little bit. Another part of that is the only comeback mechanic in Smite is killing people. There's nothing else. The winning team controls gold fear. The winning team controls farm. And the winning team controls towers. It is what it is. Sure, you can sneak some stuff here and there. But majority of your team actually isn't farming at their max capacity. Regardless of what you think is happening, you're still falling further and further behind because the enemy team, they're controlling everything and they're playing correctly. Yeah, it's kind of a bad situation. I personally think there should be more comeback mechanics, but they shouldn't be as strong. A small example of a comeback mechanic, right, is that the obelisks would increase in the number of charges you need every time you fill it up. That way, the team that's losing doesn't have to get the same amount of stacks as the team that's winning. So they can get the obelisk buff every now and then. That could be a decent comeback mechanic. It's not lowering, it's not stopping the enemy team from playing. It's not completely throwing it. It's giving the enemy team, the losing team, a chance of doing something instead of just winning the game like this. You know what I mean? And I don't even know if that's a balanced way to do it, but that's off the top of my head a soft way to add a comeback mechanic that might make up a couple of 100 gold here and there, that might help a team come back into the game. Instead of this, oh, hey, we just wiped the enemy team because we hit really hard and somebody got one shot, so now the entire team fight is over and we win the game. That stuff kind of feels bad. And it does kind of nullify the entire beginning portion of the game, and that kind of feels bad for the team that's winning. And honestly, it still feels bad for the team that's losing, that's the only way to come back. When that's the only way to come back, it feels bad the entire time because you're just constantly trying to pick fights and losing and losing and losing. It's not fun. Add something else that we can do. Okay, I went on my own rant. Now to stop and listen to Elleon a little more. He has important things to say.
Right? So why do I think this is a problem? So why does this, what does this cause, right? The fact that you're winning the game off one fight at 25 minutes, regardless of losing the whole game prior to that. Is that
sucks.
It makes for the early game the early game does not matter.
Nope.
In that aspect.
Not in an organized game.
Correct? In this game, it obviously did because they were able to get a 6K goalie. But in games like if you watch the Leviathans, they understand that one fight is the fight that matters.
Yep.
So let's just farm and not fight until that one fight. That promotes no fighting, right? Especially with all the farm on the map. And that makes a boring SPL experience for the viewers. Why would you do that when you have such a beautiful game that is beautiful to watch when you watch team fights? Smite is probably one of the funnest MOBAs to watch. It's better. I don't know. Compared with Dota, I'm not sure. That's preference.
The problem with the way that the fights work now is there's too much at risk. We're humans. We're not perfect. We make mistakes. And when a single itty bitty mistake can lead to somebody getting one shot or an entire game being over, players end up being a little more cautious and the games end up dragging out because people don't want to fight because it risks losing the game. Nobody wants to jump and make the fall into someone's trap because they're too eager to go into a fight, because that single mistake can nullify all of your good plays. Kind of feels bad, and this is mainly a thing at the top end. It sometimes affects the bottom end because people start messing around and trolling around, but for the most part it doesn't happen as often as people think it does, unfortunately. But yeah,
but compared to League, it's infinitely funner to watch. Smite team fights because of abilities, because of the art, in my opinion, because of the fact that they're gods. Right? So why would you make an SPL experience, make it where nothing matters but one fight at 25 minutes, causing these pro players not to engage with each other and fight over and not fight ever until this time?
I want to put this out there because this is something a lot of people say, especially in this community, is they say, why would the developers do this? And I'm pretty sure Elleon knows this. He's probably just really he's getting some things off of his chest, but the developers really do care about the game. Let's not get this twisted. These guys work on this game all the time. They definitely care about the game, obviously. The difference is that they're not intentionally making these. These situations are a mistake. They're not intended. They don't want to create things we don't like. They would love for the game to work exactly the way we hope it works, but they're human also. They also make mistakes. And the fact of the matter is that Smite probably has some of the highest skill floor out of all the MOBAs in terms of just playing the game. And when I say skill floor, I mean just the entry level to the game. I'm not talking about learning things. I'm just talking about like as a person who has never played a MOBA, just jumped into the game and is playing it. It is way higher than the other games, just because there's more mechanics for you to learn about controlling your character, let alone learning the characters and like the enemy gods in the game and the map. Like just learning how to control the character and things like auto attack canceling and all this other stuff. There's just more things to do in Smite than you have to do in other games, purely off the fact that you're third person and you can't see behind you. There's a little more going on. You need a little bit more awareness. You need a little bit more. You need to pay attention to your map a little more, your surroundings. You gotta listen to things a little. There's more things to do in this game than in other games. But you also have to understand that the people who are working on the game don't have the time to play the game as much as we do. If we played less, we probably wouldn't be as good. They don't have time to like go through everything all the time. Like they're not playing against the best players in the world all the time. They're not in high MMR rank. They're not in SPL or SCL. They're going off statistics. They're going off what they see. They're going off what they perform like in the playtests. Sorry. That's what's happening. So it's not that it's intentional. It's a legitimate mistake that they don't want to do. They would love to produce the perfect product that everybody loves to play. So I just want to put that out there so we don't like always trash the devs on these kind of things. Even when we get heated or even if we get annoyed about these kind of things, I think it's important to say that because I think the devs get a lot more heat than they should. Obviously, they're not messing it up on purpose. But Elleon is correct. This kind of play does create a defensive play style, and it is really unfun to deal with, and it is really unfun to watch.
You know, right? Like, why is there 13 kills? Like, and this is even a higher kill game than usual. Sometimes at 25 minutes, 24 minutes, you have 4 or 5 kills. You know, maybe a 3-1 or a 4-1. Smite is not meant to be a long macro game, a macro game like this. Smite has more simple macro, which should allow for more fighting and more display of team fight ability. And
I think this is the point where I disagree with Elleon. Smite. How do I put this? It's not that the game has simple macros, and it's not. I don't think that kills are a sign of the game being action packed. I think that the kills are a lot higher now because people die really fast, and I don't think the value in the game should be put on how many kills are happening in the game. I've seen plenty of action packed games that only had 5 kills by 20 minutes. You can have constant fighting and not have a death. That's okay. That's fine. But the problem is when people see this, they only see, oh, hey, there's only 13 kills at 17 minutes. That's not okay. That means the game is too slow. Yeah, but what if they were literally fighting for 8 minutes straight? They just couldn't get a kill because the enemy team was just playing perfectly. That's just how these kind of things work. You shouldn't put a numerical value on what should be happening at a certain point, because then at that point, you're kind of forcing the game to go your way instead of it finding a natural progression. This part right here, I don't really agree with Elleon on. Some people disagree with me and they like high kill games. I really don't get that stimulation just because I saw a character die. It doesn't give. I prefer to see like a play deserve. Like I remember back in the day when we used to see synergistic gameplay where people would pick certain characters to combo things. Back in the day, when you got a kill in middle, you knew that the jungle landed his CC, he landed his ult or his abilities, and the middle landed their abilities and their ultimate. Because back then you have to remember, like, it was like, oh, can I gank middle? Yo, does middle have ultimate? No? Okay, I won't go middle yet because there's no reason we're not going to get the kill. That's how it used to be. That stuff is entertaining to me. That I like to see. I like to see when it's a group effort, when people work together, when you see that it's a team game. That's what's enjoyable to me. When I see like the outplay or I see a really long fight and I see somebody barely win, that's fun to me. The way that it is right now, not really. And I don't really put a numerical value on if a game is action-packed or not. Just from my experience from watching this game for years. And that's okay for people not to agree with my opinion on that. But yeah, me and Elleon don't agree on this specific situation.
So how do we fix this? There's a lot of ways to fix this problem where you're winning the game off one fight at 25 minutes regardless of being down 10,000 gold. How do you fix this? So let's scroll to like the 26-minute marker.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to get to the point where they actually throw.
All right, here we go. Okay, you guys see how every tower's up. They haven't crossed every single tower, but we'll watch it.
But overall, he is correct. They shouldn't lose the game off of just one play. I completely agree.
Set up for another potential pincer up here against the Warriors, but Netroid's eating a lot of damage inside that wall. And force himself right back out. Fire Giant starting down to half. Nika will take some damage. Variety has to use the ult to get away from the Pal Lao. Nika wants to get in. He'll find Netroid and force the dash out, but even Nika and Neil are both down to half health. Rivers Rebuke will catch out Variety for a moment, but the
Variety could have got out there, bro.
Until Cubo Fred dies to the back line and finds the first.
So the only Warriors decided to take up. Burn it quick.
Goes in, finds two with the taunt.
Okay, see now, this is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. This is the problem that I have to speak about.
Are you serious?
So I completely agree with Elleon's reasoning and what he's talking about in this video. I 1000% agree with it. But this video is a bad example. This is not a single mistake. This is consecutive mistakes back to back. Variety was way too far up while they were pulling the Fire Giant. They should have either fought the Fire Giant or they should have killed the enemy players. Personally, I don't think fighting the Fire Giant was the right call, but it was one of the two options that they could have done. I think that they should have just fought instead of trying to sneak Fire Giant. They have 11k gold lead. They shouldn't need Fire Giant to win the fight. And I feel like they should just be able to win the fight and go back to Fire Giant. Forcing it was kind of cringe. And then after Variety got picked, you guys are 11,000 gold ahead. Not only are you 11,000 gold ahead, they have all the towers up that they have to do. Not only do they have all the towers up that they have to do, it's not Enhanced Fire Giant. Not only is it not Enhanced Fire Giant, but your entire team is over a full item ahead of almost every character on the enemy team, besides the solo and the ADC. I think you guys would be fine if you just gave up one Fire Giant after Variety got picked. This is a bad example. This is staggered mistakes back to back that got them to lose the game. It doesn't take away from Elleon's point. He is 100% correct, but this is just a bad example. There's another game that happened on the same weekend, I'm pretty sure, where a team was winning the entire time and they died in the enemy base and the enemy just ran down and ended the game. Now, that would have been a better example to use in this scenario, but Elleon still has a point, even though I agree that this is probably a bad game. And I hope this doesn't pull away from the point that he's making for people that are watching.
Right into the kill. Genetics goes down to Cubo Fred. And Nika will chase out Big Man Tings, who is on the run. And a separate.
By the way, Captain Twig is doing the beautiful macro play of clearing the wave so that they cannot push with wave, so backdoor protection is still available. So even including that, we'll let it keep playing.
Himself from Captain Twig, but Big Man Tings, he's doing a lot of damage back to Nika. Can't really return that fire, but Cubo can.
Double kill for Cubo Fred and the only Warriors.
So this is
but
through
really
backdoor protection, no EFG.
Have got a whole lot of time to play with.
They do have Fire Giant, though. Fire Giant is a big buff, but yes. The numbers have power crept so much that we really don't need
Backdoor protection.
Minions.
Back to base and a power potion in hand, but it's going to be 2 versus 5. The only Warriors in one massive team.
By the way, 2 people still alive.
Fight swing at that Fire Giant and one to follow have just turned this game back
The Titan is hitting for 200 damage.
around.
Well,
Pal Lao
of
won't blow
course,
anybody.
2 tanks aren't
Grab a
going to do
couple at the
anything.
ult, but they're not doing a whole lot of damage to the Titan. Nika is already gone. A teleport in by Cubo Fred onto Captain Twig. The 3 carries in the 4th will now dive in.
Tank's biggest problem is that they can't die, not that they...
Okay, this is to take nothing away from the
Can wipe
ONE.
a whole
This is
team in
nothing
2
to talk
seconds.
about the teams. I could care less who did this, right? So that, for me, that is a huge problem. That they
agree.
won one fight and won the game. Right? How do we fix this problem? So, the way we fix this, there's a lot of ways to do it. You could do a lot of things. You can make the minion waves tankier in scale. You can lower power, which is what they're trying to do, but that's not going to change anything. So, there's one way to fix this.
First of all, there's not one way to fix this. There's multiple ways to fix this. There's always multiple ways to fix this. 2, lowering the power would definitely help. For example, items like Spear of the Magus and Divine Ruin used to have like 70 magic power. 70. They now have like 110 and 120. Like, I'm just saying the numbers have almost doubled across the board on both physical and magical items. Yes, lowering power would definitely stop this. And saying that it wouldn't isn't realistic. Now, what he's probably saying is the lowering of power by 5 and 10, like the recent patch notes. No, those won't fix anything. If he's mentioning about the recent patch notes, they ain't gonna do anything at all. Those small changes don't do anything. You would need a massive power change. You would need like a 40% power cut or like maybe like a 30 or 20%, like something around there to actually like affect this.
Titan needs to scale with
No.
time, right?
No.
Phoenix needs to scale
No.
with time.
No.
Tier 2s need to scale with time, right? Tier 2 scale much lower than Phoenix. Phoenix scales a bit lower
We've done
than
this
Titan.
already.
And how do we make these scaling happen?
We've done this
Very
already.
simple. You can
There
do a
might
lot of
even be a
different ways,
video
but
on this
literally,
channel
right in
about
this
how
moment,
bad
I'll literally
sieging
make
is
it
during
very
that
easy. I
time.
could come up with 1,000 ideas. Don't worry, Hi-Rez. You don't even have to give me $1. I give you the idea for free.
Listen, the problem with buffing Titan, the problem with buffing Phoenixes, the problem with buffing tier 2s is it also promotes defensive gameplay, and it'll also promote this same thing that you're trying to fix. It's going to promote sitting in your base and hoping that the enemy team throws under your Phoenix. We've dealt with this meta. They literally buffed Enhanced Fire Giant specifically because Phoenixes were too hard to siege. We even saw it in the SPO where there was 2 teams that didn't want to fight or didn't want to siege because they knew whoever sieged would lose the game, and we were in a really long game. I forgot exactly who it was, and I forgot exactly what season it was, but I remember all the talk about it. We've been through this. We've tried this. Buffing structures does not make the game more stable. It just creates a new defensive playstyle, which is going to do the same exact thing that you're trying to do. It's going to provide what you're trying to fix. It's going to provide stale gameplay and people just not fighting or caring about the game because they know that they can just defend the Phoenix and the game might be too hard for someone to end. These changes are going to do nothing but increase the amount of time it takes to end the game, and that's it. Like, there's no, like, we've done this. This isn't a hypothetical. This isn't a theory. We've dealt with this specific situation before. In fact, this exact situation happens with characters. Oh my goodness, there's too much damage in the game. Things die too fast. They can win the game too fast. Let's buff the defenses. Oh no, these things can't ever die. The games are lasting forever because these characters, all these towers can't die. So now the game is really defensive and we're into some weird meta. It's not fun. Buff the damage again. this is not the change. This is not how you fix this. If you want to fix something like this, you have to add certain systems into the game and change the way systems work. The way, like, just buffing protections, just buffing HP, just making things do more damage isn't going to fix anything. It's not going to fix anything. It's literally just a Band-Aid on a pipe that's ready to burst. It's just going to provoke the same response. Oh no, we can't end games. We need more damage, either by a buff or by an objective. It's what's going to happen. Now, there's plenty of things you can. I would much rather they take the approach that I think it's either Dota or League. I haven't played in so long, where like you can press a button and all your towers become immune for like 20 seconds. That I'm fine with. That's player interaction. Stop making things that are NPCs and not player controlled things to solve problems. Let players solve problems. Give players the options to solve things. Let them do things. Give them comeback mechanics that aren't just killing people. Weaken how much, like make it a little bit weaker how much you get for killing someone who's ahead, but give them other options to do things. Maybe make it so that the winning team has a benefit to winning. Now, let's take Elleon's idea of buffing towers and buffing Titan and stuff like that. You know what? I'm going to let him finish saying it, and I'm going to put my own twist on it. That's not what he's saying, because I know what he's saying, and I know where he's going to go on this one. He's going to be talking about just buffing towers and everything in general. And I don't agree with that. I'm going to let him finish his point, even though I talked over him for a while. Sorry.
Phoenix, you can make a ring of fire, go around it after a tank has tanked it for 5 seconds or 6. Not only that, but tier 2 and Phoenix both go up in prots and physical in both prots or mitigation, however you want to do it, every 5 minutes after 20 minutes. They go up at 20 minutes, and after every 5 minutes, they go up again.
You're never going to finish games. Because if you can't siege in 25, you can't siege at 30.
Also scales with mitigation as well. And he has AoE, right? And he scales the same way, just like this. At 20 minutes, he has no AoE autos, no tremble, no CC. At 25
maybe if it was
minutes,
AoE to minions.
he now has AoE. He has a tremble or a CC, and then at 30 minutes he has a tremble or a CC. So and cleave autos, right? There's no way a fire wave can almost half health a Titan. There's no way. So with that being said, those small changes, because they're very small, all you're gonna do is make
those
the
aren't small changes. Those are massive changes.
Make the
to
game
entire
scale
game.
harder.
Change the
Where
pixel
like
dance.
if you're winning,
you're gonna be picking characters who can siege better.
It feels like you actually have a lead, right? If you're winning in Smite and you haven't ended by 25 minutes, the lead is not really, it's whoever.
Those things don't make you feel like a lead, because then they just have a defensive option to sit on the towers. It makes it so you can't push your lead anymore. It's actually just buffing defense, not buffing offense that he thinks. Now, let's take his idea. Personally, I think adding AoE to the Titan and the fire ring on Phoenix is absolutely a ludicrous idea. But for the sake of using his idea, maybe if you tied those buffs to an objective, then I could agree with you. Maybe if you tie those changes to Titan and those changes to Phoenix, you tied them to like Gold Fury, or you tied them to Obelisk, or you tied them to Fire Giant. So maybe when you kill Fire Giant for the next 2 minutes, right? Or for the duration you have the buff, your Phoenixes have a fire ring around them. Cool. Things like that I can probably see with. Maybe you can, instead of death timers going up by every second, maybe death timers go up by how many times you die. So you're rewarded for winning the game while the enemy team still has a chance to come back into the game. Maybe that's a good idea. But the idea of just giving both sides increased protections and increase all this, you're just going to make the game too hard to end. We've been through this before when we had that season. It felt really bad to win because it was more risky to siege someone's Phoenix than it was to defend your own. It was nuts. It was not a fun meta. Let's not go back to that. I disagree with that. But I do think that even the ideas that he's bringing could be used in the game in a form of like what I was saying before. If you get Fire Giant or you get Gold Fury, maybe you can have a buff to your base. That's a comeback mechanic, and it doesn't have to rely on killing an enemy player. Those kind of things I'm okay with. Maybe we should see something like that. And in that case, I probably wouldn't even be that mad at Elleon's idea. If the enemy team was losing the whole time when they got 4 Gold Furies, and that was their strategy to get 4 Gold Furies and play defense till they can come back and win the game, then that's a viable strategy in my opinion. But I don't think we should just add it just willy-nilly like that. Just put it on every character. I disagree with that. On every tower in Phoenix. I disagree with that 100%.
Yes, you may have an item on the other team, but if you lose the fight, you don't really have a lead. You lose the game just as they do. I'm sure you guys have felt this plenty of times when you're sitting at fire and you're like, damn, it's getting to 25 minutes, 27 minutes. Whoever wins this fight wins the game. Yep. It's not about the fact that we have controlled the map with a beautiful macro. No. None of that matters. All that matters is that 27-minute fight. And like I said, I already explained.
Did he just come off of a loss where he lost at 25 minutes?
That also just makes it where like
he's really tilted about
this. Better team wins. This team, the Camelot King, should have had another opportunity to fight. There should have been another team fight. Not only that, it wasn't a 5-0 sweep. It was a 3-man sweep, 5v2, and they crushed Tier 1, Tier 2,
Not true.
Phoenix, Titan in one push.
Not true. Variety died. And then 3 other people died. And it was 1 person alive. Variety died so early he rezzed back up. It was not a 3-2 split.
That's a problem. That's a huge problem. They ended the game in front of 2 tanks. That's a problem. Huge problem.
Why is it a problem? Why should tanks be able to stop an entire team from ending the game? They should be rewarded for keeping their DPS alive, not surviving the entire time. I don't agree with that. Just because they're tanks doesn't mean they should stop an entire team of 5 with Fire Giant. As false. I don't agree with that at all. You shouldn't have staggered deaths. The moment you saw Variety die, that should have been it.
I said, those are very simple.
That being said, technically, if the 2 tanks did survive, they probably still lost the game, to be fair, to not like shit on Elleon's parade. Sorry.
Simple changes that Hi-Rez can make, but obviously, I'm always just talking to talk at this point because, a lot of the changes don't go through. But I hope that they see this problem as, and what this does as well.
They know about this problem.
With the way they've
spoken about this problem.
They're saying, we want tier 4s, right? We want tier 4 items. We want upgraded relics to be in use. This will allow that. Because now...
No, it won't, because relics don't do anything to towers, and glyphs don't give you any extra stats. They're just passives.
Macros properly through the early mid game will have infinitely more golds to fight with and have upgraded relics and tier 4 items to fight with. And so, but like this game, they weren't able to, right? They weren't able to. Look at their items. They weren't able to get there. You want to know why? Because they ended the game in 27 minutes by just running it down mid after winning by killing 3 people. That's a problem. They should have been. They should have got, at most they get a Phoenix there, right? They get tier 1, they get tier 2, they get Phoenix. That's a fair push. You killed 3 of them. You got FG. That's a fair push.
I also personally don't agree with this. I don't think you should be able to get 6 items every single game. I think MOBAs aren't about your 6-item build. I'm pretty sure MOBAs are about power spikes and being able to build according to the situation. And that's how you actually get build diversity, when you actually have items that solve problems and you're building towards certain problems. When you just build towards a 6-item build, that means there's a guaranteed best way to build because it's all numbers. There's going to be a guaranteed best way to build instead of what's the best item for right now. I personally disagree, and I actually dislike that I get almost full items every single time I play Smite. It kind of takes away from the feel of having a full build. A full build in an MMO and a MOBA is supposed to feel like, ooh, Oh, I hit it, bro. I'm the strongest. You're not supposed to hit that every time. Now it kind of it removes the novelty of the 6-item build now that you just get it all the time. So yeah, I disagree with this point also.
Yeah, but now you got to reset because you know the Titan is way too hard to kill at that point. So, and you know you can't do it 3v2. But now let's say the Oni Warriors 5-0'd the Camelot Kings at Fire. Now I think that's fair that you like. Now you can call to go Titan because you 5-0 sweep them. There's no one in front of you. If you heal, if you tank properly, heal properly, sustain properly, macro properly, you should be able to do that. Same thing with the Titan, right? The Titan, like we said, like we explained, right? The Titan at 25 minutes would have the upgrade of cleave autos, right? With cleave autos at 25 minutes, right? That they wouldn't, they can't end there. They cannot end there because and also it's at 25 minutes, the Titan got mitigation upgrades. So there's no way they end there. They would have got washed. And that's a problem in the macro of today's game. Maybe Hi-Rez will maybe say, we want Smite to be short, but the Smite will still be, it will elongate the games by a bit, but it would be for a reason that's worth it. So hope you enjoyed my TED Talk. I'm sure a lot of people on Twitter have been talking about this, so I thought I would make a video and just explain it as best as I can. Hope you guys enjoyed the video.
So, me and him have very differing opinions on this. My problem with like, I agree with what he's trying to say, that the games, you can win the games too easily off of a single mistake. I completely agree. I just don't agree where the method is going, and I want to point that out because I've seen this method like being brought up a lot, and I don't think it helps anything. I just think it causes more problems. Personally, from my experience, if you want to create a solution for a game, put it in the hands of the player. Let the player choose to do those things. Like, look at the successful games right now, especially things like Elden Ring. If you just hold their hands and you just put the thing in the game that defends your tower, then it kind of takes away from the player's like urgency or like what they're able to do. Right now, if you want to make it so that you can buy an item that puts a ring of fire around your Phoenix, I'm down. That's awesome. That's baller. I love those kind of things. But when it's just in the game, no matter what, squash that. I don't like that. That's boring. Make it player interactive. Player interactive. None of this just buff a tower nonsense. None of this just buff Fire Giant. Make it interactive. Do you guys not see that we literally cannot pull like Fire Giant when the enemy team is there because we might just lose the game like this? And now you want to make Titan almost impossible to siege? Like that would cause the same problem, but in a different area. I don't agree with it. I'm sorry. I really don't. I don't think the buffing of NPCs and not adding anything for the player to interact with just feels weird. I just don't like it. That's just me. Maybe you guys won't agree with me. Let me know how you guys feel. Tell me your ideas. Let me know what you guys think would fix the thing. Yeah, no. Elleon's a good player, bro. He's great. He has good ideas. We don't always agree. It is how it is. But I will see y'all later. Thank y'all very much for watching. Doses.